Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Patch notes are here. The patch itself is coming on Thursday, but now we know exactly what's going to be in the patch. Yogg is going to be nerfed, and let's take a look at the patch notes. There's some interesting stuff here. Card updates. There were two clear meta offenders that we wanted to address in this patch: Yogg-Saron and the Druid class. Recent additions from the miniset made the overly powerful neutral board control tools that were warping the meta. Yeah, I could tell. These, combined with standout Druid cards, made for a Druid shell that was able to cover its class weaknesses and utilize any number of finishers to end the game. These changes focus on weakening the Druid shell that facilitated these powerful finishers, while also removing negative play experiences that we believe are causing more pain than fun. After those adjustments, the Jailer and Tony are out on probation, but we'll be keeping an eye on them and the rest of the meta as we head into the showdown in the Badlands. So Druid is getting more nerfs than just Yogg. I'm not sure if that's warranted. I'm not sure if beyond Yogg, Druid really needed to be touched, but Blizzard is making a couple of changes here. Embrace of Nature from 1 mana to 2 mana, and Rake from 1 mana to 2 mana. Embrace of Nature, okay, so yeah, you forge it on 2, now you can no longer play it and hero power on 3. So yes, you become weaker in the early game, alright. Rake is much harder for Druid to take, because you want to combine Rake with other stuff so that you get to remove something plus remove something with your attack or go face with your attack. And now Rake at 2 mana, that's going to hurt. So Druid is going to hurt from these, but obviously Yogg, if Yogg is not changed, then these would be ultimately meaningless. Druid could still go on. However, a couple of changes. Prism Breaker. Old Battlecry, if you cast 5 or more spells this game, deal 3 damage to all enemies, and now it's down to 2 damage to all enemies. With a developer comment, the current suit of neutral board classes are a bit too punishing to minion-based decks. This change is to open up a bit of space in the meta for early minion strategies. Well, that's a little bit sad because I have used Prism Breaker also in like budget decks and pretty much every deck that runs spells, so that you can also use it to clear taunts from your path and hit face. But now with 2 damage is not much. 3 damage does tons and tons of minions that have 3 health. There are very few minions that have 2 health in the current meta. So there's a difference between clearing a board or not clearing a board. Also, if you can shadow step it or something like that, dealing 6 or dealing 4, that's also another major difference. So we'll see if Prism Breaker will even survive this. And then there's Yogg. Old 15 mana, costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game, and new 9 mana, after you use an ability, cast 2 random spells. So, you cannot play Yogg before you get to 9 mana anymore. Well, Druid can ramp up, so Druid can still reach 9 mana on turn 7, sometimes even on turn 6. Alright, that still kind of works. None of the Yogg abilities have been touched, because I really thought that they would touch the Mass Hysteria type ability, so that Yogg would also die or it wouldn't clear boards as effectively, but it still does. Then after you use an ability, cast 2 random spells. 2 random spells that can do anything, that adds just... Well, yeah. I don't think the new Yogg is going to be very much fun. I don't think the old Yogg was very much fun after a week either. But overall what this means is that every control deck is going to run Yogg. At 9 mana, I mean, having Mind Control at 9 mana, having Board Clear at 9 mana, having just so much flexibility at 9 mana. If you play a control deck, you will still play Yogg. If you play Druid, Ramp Druid, you will still play Yogg. You can ramp up and you can still sometimes Yogg on like turn 6. And that's still an early Yogg, and that still saves you from some attacks. But then again, if you use Yogg in like decks like Arcane Hunter, for example, then you probably don't run Yogg in that kind of deck anymore. Because you can't get Yogg out that early, and then getting Yogg on turn 9 for that sort of deck just doesn't make sense. So they clearly changed the nature of Yogg. Now it's a control deck card, a control deck tool for controlling the game, that also does some random stuff. So yeah, looking forward to some Yogg moments. They also made some changes to Tony and the Jailer. Tony, old 5 mana, both players' decks are swapped. Finale, draw a card, and new 7 mana Battlecry, replace your deck with a copy of your opponent's Finale, draw a card. So Tony, King of Piracy, no longer usable in mill decks, no longer usable to just kill your opponent in fatigue. Now, there are actually very few uses for this version of Tony. There might be one if you look at the Jailer change. The Jailer, old Belgrade Destroyer deck, for the rest of the game your minions are immune, but now Belgrade Destroyer deck, this minion gains immune. So Jailer is much weaker now, because previously you created this incredible board, and that was of course like Jailer Mal'Ganis kind of synergies where everything is immune, but now it's only one minion, only the Jailer, and it's going to take a while for that Jailer to actually get stuff done. As an upside, if you have taunt minions, those taunt minions now are actually taunt minions because immune minions cannot have taunt. So if your minions were immune, then they were not able to prevent your face from being hit. Now you can have that, but you don't have nearly as much pressure. You could play Jailer together with Tony, so that you destroy your deck and then you get a copy of your opponent, so you're even when it comes to fatigue. Something like that could happen, but overall both cards are now significantly weaker than they were. And all versions of the above cards can be disenchanted, will be eligible for full dust refunds for 2 weeks following patch 27.6.2. So yeah, Jailer, Tony. Jailer would still be a lot of value in some cases, but I mean it has to be too slow for the current meta. But Yogg. Yogg's going to become a control deck card. Prison Breaker, I'm not sure if it will survive, that will have to be tested. Embrace of Nature, it's still too good to let go. Rake, I'm not sure if there's room for Rake anymore. And yeah, quite a few changes and changing the role of Yogg-Saron, so definitely there's going to be a whole bunch of meta changes come Thursday, so let's see. Thursday is going to be an interesting day for Hearthstone. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.